Starting lineup. First for the number 3 ranked Hawks from SUNY New Paltz. A sophomore from Farmington, New York, number 5, Cam Clark. A sophomore from Massapequa, New York, number 6, Tim Drake. A sophomore from Clifton Park, New York, number 13, Brandon Spellman. A senior from Georgetown, Guyana, number 14, Tevin Skeet. A sophomore from Smithtown, New York, number 17, Chris Stanley. A sophomore from Massapequa, New York, number 18, John Roman. And your libero, a sophomore from Smithtown, New York, number 12, Ryan Kaplan. Now let's meet the Baruch College Bearcats. A senior from Port Washington, New York, number 3, Stephen Lopez. A sophomore from Jackson Heights, New York, number 7, Stallone Schenker. A senior from Brooklyn, New York, number 11, Artem Zinkin. A junior from Bayside, New York, number 16, Evan Tacos. A junior from Forest Hills, New York, number 17, Meni Mashayev. A freshman from Plainview, New York, number 18, Justin E. Lou Leland. And your libero, a senior from Bayside, New York, number 10, Hanbin Lee. Have a great match.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another matchup here at the Arc Arena between your Baruch College Bearcats and the Hawks of New Paltz College. I'm Brian Flannery, joined here by Jacob Rudin. And Jake, we got a big one here tonight at the Arc Arena.
You know, Arc Arena, Thursday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Nowhere I'd rather be, Brian, than watching the Baruch College Bearcats take on the defending national champions, the SUNY New Paltz Hawks.
Absolutely. So the Bearcats know they have their work cut out for them tonight. A big matchup. And Jake, what do you think the key is for the Bearcats here tonight going up against SUNY New Paltz?
I think the key is to come out hot and early, Brian. It looks like New Paltz put in a pretty young lineup, and quite honestly, it seems a little bit disrespectful to the Bearcats coming off such a good season last year where we even faced SUNY New Paltz in the first round of the NCAA tournament, Brian. And they did this last year when they faced the Hunter College Hawks of the CUNY division, and they almost lost in a 5-set thriller. So let's see what happens today. You know, SUNY New Paltz is known to kind of come out cold when they don't throw in that number 1 lineup. So we'll have to see what team shows up for each of the opponents, you know?
Absolutely. So, yeah, and a little bit different look from our side with the Bearcats. Naturally, you graduated along Nick Godino, Kyriakos, Semertzidis. So a few guys stepping up and also a few familiar faces. But definitely a different look here for SUNY New Paltz coming from Baruch.
Yeah. New faces on the court for New Paltz to face, and then also looks like some very young guys in for New Paltz. So we'll see. It's tough as a young player to come out with the fire that your senior leaders will bring. So let's see if the reserves for New Paltz can bring that in set 1.
Absolutely.
And quite honestly, Brian, I hope they can.
So we are just about underway here. The officials are all set. And it looks like it's going to be Stallone Shankar to get the Bearcats started here tonight.
The sophomore out of Jackson Heights, New York, from Aviation High School.
Jump serve. He's going back row. Dug by New Paltz. Set through the middle. Rolling off the net, and that one goes out of bounds. So first point's going to go to the Bearcats.
You know, that net is so tricky, Brian. Sometimes you swing the ball into the net and it stays on your own side, or it'll just trickle over to the opponent's side. That one did that and went out.
Shankar going back row again, this time to the libero. Cross-court set.
Ooh.
Taco's going for the block there, but just a little bit of separation between his hands and the net, and that one will go back to New Paltz.
Well said, Brian. Not enough penetration on the block there by Tacos. The sophomore setter, Cam Clark from Farmington, New York, in to serve.
He's going with more of a float serve. That time he'll go back to Steven Lopez. Lopez kind of hit it over on one. High floating shot, and then really no answer there from Baruch.
Oh, yeah, tough ball to defend as the Cats. When you overpass that first touch, it's really tough to corral the return right there. Good kill by the Hawks.
And that's going to be a service error from New Paltz. So Baruch will get the point and the ball back as Steven Lopez will drop back to serve.
The serve giveth and the serve taketh away, Brian. 2-2.
Lopez coming with a high jump serve. He'll go back row. Set through the middle. Nice one-hand save there by Lopez. Now Zinkin tipping over the front row. Blocked by New Paltz, and there's going to be a call here looking like a double, Jake?
They're calling into the net by number 18 on New Paltz. He looked around to his teammates and said, yeah, I did it. So I think the refs got that one right.
That's a good call there.
Steven Lopez back to serve, who had an amazing one-arm dig.
Yeah, really nice dig there by Lopez to keep that volley alive as he'll go back row to the libero. Back set, New Paltz. Kept alive there by Baruch. Han's going to go to Shankar. Pipe attack Lopez. He'll go back row off the libero and count the point for Baruch.
Yeah. Cats are up 4-2 right now. And you know what, Brian? The Cats are looking good, but if I was Coach Edwards, the one adjustment I tell my boys to make is stop serving the other team's libero. That's the serve receive specialist. I would keep this serve away from him. Let's see if Steven can do it.
That's a really good point. Another high jump serve from Lopez. This time he doesn't go to the libero, but that's a nice 1-2-3 there from New Paltz.
Yeah.
And again, it seems when New Paltz has that leverage and a really good set, there's really not much the Bearcats can do.
You know, they're a tough team to stop in system, whether it's their starters or their reserves like we're seeing right now. They still were the defending national champions, Brian.
Here's a serve going back row, this time to Baruch's libero. Shankar. Set Aluli in. Let's see, just out.
Yeah, I can see that one from the booth, Brian. That's a tough swing when you can move your shoulder or your wrist, but if you do both, you're probably going to hit that ball out, so you overextend just a little too much.
Yeah, you kind of have to re-angle your body there.
Yeah.
Because you're fighting the sidelines.
Yeah, you got to do one, not both, Brian. Either your wrist or your shoulder, but if you do two, you're probably going to hit the ball out.
Real big serve coming there.
Speaking of out, ball served out by number 13 from SUNY New Paltz, Brendan Spolnick from Clifton Park, New York, Shenandoah High School.
That'll drop back Evan Tacos to serve. Baruch still leading 5-4. Tacos goes back row to the libero. Set through the middle. Kind of caught Tacos tied up there.
Yeah, it's tough. You're asking for a lot when you have your middle serving and asking him to play defense in 5, and that was just a little bit too much for Evan Tacos there. Caught a little off balance by that off-speed shot, Brian. And now another middle serving in for New Paltz this time.
It's going to be John Ronan out of Massapequa. Shankar setting Mushiev, and he puts it away.
I believe that's the first middle attack the Bearcats have had all night, Brian. That's really been a staple for the offense this year. So
it's really good to see.
Yeah, killed by Meni Musayev. Last year, Meni led the nation in blocks per set. Let's see if he can keep that up this year.
And it's going to be really important here tonight against SUNY New Paltz. Here's Arm Zinkin to serve. He goes back row to the libero. Outside set, off some Bearcat hands into the stands, and this one's going back to New Paltz. We're tied at 6.
Looks like New Paltz ran an outside ball that didn't get quite pushed out to the antenna, Brian, so the Bearcat block needs to cheat in a little bit and steal off that angle there.
Tim Drake serving for the Hawks. This one off of Lulian's hands gets caught up in the rafters. Let's see if it's coming down. Lopez is able to corral it. Shankar throws it over with the free ball. And the tip going over the front row from SUNY New Paltz. Bearcats keep it alive. Pretty nice volley here from both sides. Outside attack. Off some Bearcat hands in the front. Lopez unable to save it in the back. And point New Paltz. But again, that ball was up there for what seemed like an eternity, Jake.
Really good patience there by Lopez. It's so easy to overcommit to one of those balls, lose track of it, then not realize where it is. He did a real good job of keeping his weight forward and finding that ball off the rafters.
Shankar is going to go to Zinkin. Zinkin has a tough ball there, but he's able to play it. Set to the outside, and it's going to be a point for the Bearcats as they're calling. SUNY New Paltz wanted to call there.
Yeah, I don't know what they're asking for. They're just putting their hands on their head, Brian. That ball was definitely out.
The only thing I can think of is maybe they're saying it clipped some Bearcats' hands in the front.
You kind of touched two fingers showing that there was a ball off the hands. I think they were trying to argue that ball was in, which would have been the wrong thing to argue.
And it's going to be a service error there from Alulian.
As we say in the industry, Brian, ball don't lie.
So now Chris Shanley out of Smithtown, New York, dropping back to serve. Nice jump serve there. He's going to go back row. Bearcats coming in with a lot of steam there, and Menny was able to put that one away. It wasn't the ideal set. The ball was almost a little bit behind him, but he was able to control his body in the air.
Yeah, sometimes all you need to do is swing about 30 to 70% on a cutback shot to one, Brian, and that's exactly what Menny Musayev did there and got the kill.
So that's going to drop back Menny to serve. And just rolls over the tape there. New Paltz coming from the outside, and pretty big hole in the Bearcats' defense there, Jake.
Yeah, not exactly sure what the blockers are looking at. Seemed like a pretty obvious set to me in the booth, but maybe we'll just have a different angle at it, Brian. Let's hope our block can wake up a bit and see where that ball is going.
Now Dan LaRosa out of Sachem North High School. Serving for the Hawks. Good serve there, going line drive, back row to Lopez. Taco's able to keep it alive. The ball was behind him. He played it with the left. Shankar, he's going to set Zinkin, and there. Let's see what the call is here.
I disagree with. Oh, they're calling Artem over the 10-foot line on his swing, but they aren't going to call. Yeah, it looks like a back row attack on Artem Zinkin. Apparently he stepped on the line even though he tagged the New Paltz player. New Paltz point. They got a little lucky there, Brian.
Definitely. And you saw everyone.
Yeah, if I was the Bearcats, I would argue that the setter was over the plane of the net when he tried to dump that ball, but we're on to the next point.
And Lopez trying to get the Bearcats going there. He's blocked. And Jay, can you explain what's going on here? Because I'm a little lost.
I think the refs are calling the New Paltz captain over and telling him to keep his boys behaved on the bench. There's been a lot of energy from the New Paltz bench. I'm not sure if the mics are picking it up, but always screaming when the Bearcats are trying to serve.
And
not against the rules technically, but it's a little unethical, Brian.
Understood. So that's going to be another point for New Paltz here, as LaRose is on a little bit of a service run.
Oh, serving sub coming in for New Paltz and doing what he has to do, Brian. Making the most of his court time.
And
I think I jinxed him.
You might have jinxed him there as LaRosa commits the service error. And this one's going to go back to Baruch. This time it will be Stallone Shankar.
And it looks like the serving sub is getting left in as a DS for the middle right now, as New Paltz is going to run a no libero system.
Here's Shankar. Nice serve there, going back row. Outside attack coming from New Paltz into the middle of the net, and point's going to go to Baruch.
Yeah, it looks like the outside hitter for New Paltz wanted that ball pushed out a little bit farther to the antenna and didn't quite adjust to where the set was.
So let's see if Shankar can get on a little bit of a service run himself here. Try to regain the lead for the Bearcats. And he goes back row. Just missed, Jake.
Yeah.
Really tough call. So much velocity behind that serve. I couldn't necessarily tell, but right there nonetheless.
A lot of service errors by each team. And unfortunately for the Bearcats, New Paltz has brought more pressure on the balls that they haven't made errors on.
And seeing a little bit more of a float serve there as Tacos is just able to tip it over the front row.
Another middle misconnection.
Pipe attack. New Paltz kept alive but punched out of bounds. And this one's going back to Baruch. So Steven Lopez will drop back to serve. And that one pretty clearly out of bounds.
Yeah, another service error. There's been a lot of them thus far this game, Brian.
And especially, Jake, you figure with the Bearcats, they already have a really tall order here tonight against SUNY New Paltz. They can't be hurting themselves.
Yeah, and our MO, Brian, is being a good blocking team. And in order to be a good blocking team, you have to keep your serves in and let your blockers block, for lack of a better word.
So that serve's going to be dug by Hahn. Back set Shankar going to Zinkin. He'll go back row. Ball swinging up in the rafters. Kept alive by New Paltz. Lopez is going to go to Shankar. Setting Zinkin through the middle. New Paltz trying to block it, but that goes all the way into the Bearcats bench. Actually off.
Facial LaFleur looks like off the head of the New Paltz blocker. He's got a red forehead, and he's blinking his eyes a bit after that one. Artem Zinkin got every inch of that ball.
Yeah, he really did. And you see Zinkin when he's strong enough as is from a standing position, but once he's able to get some momentum behind it.
Yeah.
So here's Evan Tacos to serve. And
the ace.
It's going to be an ace for Tacos. Yeah. So Tacos Thursday here at the Arc Arena.
Yeah, Taco Thursday. Don't sue us, LeBron.
The Bearcats doing a really nice job of chipping away at that lead. Now within 1 point, definitely back in striking distance as New Paltz coming from the outside. And that's a big block there by Artem Zinkin.
I think the refs need to check the floor for a hole, Brian. There might be a dent in the gym after that. Wouldn't want to be the basketball team in their next home game.
Might be a dead spot in the floor, but nonetheless, Artem Zinkin with the big block, able to get the Bearcats back into a tie game. And here's Evan Tacos looking to take the lead. Back set coming from the right side. New Paltz kind of handcuffed Zinkin there, and this one's going back to the Hawks.
Wow, and you can really see it. I don't know if the cameras are picking it up, but the New Paltz player who got hit by Artem's swing has a giant ball mark on his forehead, Brian.
Yeah, it's one of the risks you run, being in the front row, whether it be fingers or...
If I didn't know any better, I think it was sunburn, but it's February.
So there's Ronan serve. Shankar, he's going to set a Luli in. New Paltz unable to handle it, and the Bearcats answer right back.
Yeah, it looks like the Cats have been a little out of system even on their in-system balls, but got the kill there anyway.
It's almost, though, as if those out of system, like you said, Jake, it's kind of... They're effective because they're even catching New Paltz off guard.
Exactly. There's one block going over for New Paltz, so every player was expecting Justin to absolutely bury that ball. And when he didn't get all of it, it still worked because they were expecting that hard power swing.
Yep, so here's Zinkin. Really nice serve there. And many looking for the block. Unfortunately, SUNY New Paltz is going to get the tool there.
Yeah, nice smart swing there by the New Paltz player. He wasn't really swinging for anybody of the court, just saw hands and went up and swung at him, Brian.
So Tim Drake will now serve. And that's going to be a service error. Point Bearcats. So once again, we're tied at 16 all here. Really good first set. A lot of back and forth volleyball.
Yeah. Tim Drake still looks a little bit out of it, Brian, from that hit he took from Artem Zinkin. Maybe that affected that serve.
So Lulian just plays it smart and punches it over. And that's going to be a kill by number 14, Tevin Skeet. Again, I don't mind the conservative serves at this point in the match.
Exactly, Brian. You just got to keep your serving, especially when you're such a good blocking team. And got about 2 or 3 blocks at the last service run.
So here's Shanley now for New Paltz. Lopez going for the kill, and he'll do exactly that.
Yeah. You got to let your boys do what your boys do best. And last year, the Bearcats led the nation in blocks per set. So as a server, you just got to keep that ball in.
Absolutely. Yeah, you really just got to play to your strengths, especially against the former #1 team in the nation, or currently.
Current number 3. Last year's defending national champions. Oh, and that ball's in. The bench for SUNY New Paltz knows it. As they're telling their boys to calm down and pointing towards the court, that ball was in.
So really nice serve there by Many. Not only can he block, but he can also serve and definitely do other things. So it's nice to see a multi-dimensional game.
At one point last season, he served 25 balls in a row in one match. Don't really see that very often.
That's almost what we'd call the perfect game in baseball.
Yeah, he was a hit on the online volleyball forum as everyone was looking at the stats and couldn't believe that only one server served the whole game.
So SUNY New Paltz answers right back. And now drop back Dan LaRosa, the defensive specialist.
Went on a nice run the last time he was here. Let's see if he can do it again. And ooh.
Especially at this point in the match, that's tough. That's a tough service error.
Even if your coach is telling you to go aggressive there, Brian, that's a ball you got to keep in.
Yep.
Nice late into the match.
Let's see if the Bearcats can now capitalize this. Stilo Shankar will get us going here. He goes back row, but that one just a little bit too wide. And back-to-back service errors from both sides.
Yeah, you know, not the best serving display thus far tonight in the gym.
No, definitely not. Both teams definitely want to try to clean that up moving into the second and third set. Now coming with the float serve. Tacos coming straight from the middle.
Burying the ball, Brian.
And big kill there out of Evan Tacos.
As a former Bearcat middle myself, I love to see how involved in the offense the middles are this year. Kind of makes me wish like I had one more year of eligibility.
Me and you both. Here's Steven Lopez. Nice serve there. Quickly off the rafters. SUNY New Paltz able to hang on. Beautiful dig there by Shankar. Going right back over on one. Back set New Paltz. And point Bearcats.
Yeah, Bearcats, their biggest lead of the match thus far. They lead 21-19. New Paltz timeout.
So we'll be back in a few moments after New Paltz talks this one over, but it's really been all Bearcats here over the past 5 points or so, so we'll be back in a few moments. So we are back here live. Bearcats leading 21-19 over SUNY New Paltz, and Steven Lopez is here to serve. New Paltz trying to come through their middle.
Keeping the ball alive somehow, Brian.
Yeah, nice recovery there. Shankar back set Zinkin. Tough set. Zinkin does a good job of playing that one. Here's a set. It was a combination of Alulian, Tacos, and Zinkin. All three going up for the block, but unfortunately, once again, Tacos caught a little bit back.
Yeah, you know, that was a tough swing, tough ball to defend.
And it was on an angle as well.
Yeah, the Bearcat defender needs to step a little bit farther outside there as he's a triple block. There's not much room in the court they can hit. You have to kind of peel off for that hard cross or tip over the block. And nice swing by New Paltz nonetheless.
So Brendan Spolnick will serve now for SUNY New Paltz. He'll go back row to Baruch's libero. Here's Alulian. And unable to create the leverage he needed there.
Yeah, didn't get that snap on top of the ball, kind of hit underneath it there, and it floated out. 21-21, tie game now, and amazing to me that 2 points ago, what didn't go in the Cats' favor. New Paltz had a great job hustling down and defending that ball and ended up winning the point.
Yeah, you definitely saw it's been a good timeout thus far for SUNY New Paltz. Here's Alulian coming again. Nice one-handed dig by the Hawks. Outside attack. Able to find a little bit of real estate there, according to the officials. Actually, did they call hands there, Jake?
Yeah, they're calling out the hands. The Bearcat, I mean, the New Paltz player landed almost at the Bearcat 10-foot line. That looks like what the Cats are complaining about, but I guess the refs are going to say the ball was down first before the New Paltz player went under the net.
Here's Spolnick. He'll go back row to Lopez. Shankar looking for Alulian. Alulian able to get it over this time. Right side for New Paltz, going back row to Lopez. Shankar going right back to Alulian, this time back row. New Paltz sent over on one. Shankar tied up at the net. Zinkin came all the way across the court, but just unable to save that ball. And that's going to be a hard-fought point for SUNY New Paltz as they now lead 23-21, and it's going to be a Baruch timeout from Coach Kevin Edwards.
And we're back, folks. Cats trail 21-23, first set.
So really big serve there. Dug by Hahn. Here's Zinkin. And big kill there for Artem Zinkin.
Yeah, that ball might have been going out. Caught the New Paltz defender thinking about it. And when you think about it, Brian, it's too late. Bearcat point.
So hopefully that can get the Bearcats back in this coming out of the timeout. Evan Tacos dropping back to serve. Coming with a high jump serve. Nice low fade on that one. And unfortunately, unable to dig that as it goes into the bleachers. And SUNY New Paltz now has set point. Here's John Ronan to serve. Back row to Lopez. Shankar backs at Zinkin. Blocked in the front by New Paltz. Kept alive by Baruch, though. Here's Alulian just looking for a roll shot over the front row. Nice move there by Lopez to keep it alive. Back set. New Paltz coming from the outside. No good, but then able to put it over on one. That's Tevin.
They aren't going to call Tevin Skeet over the plane of the net as he clearly reached over the net there, Brian.
So, yeah, no call there. We'll be back in a few moments for set number 2.
And we're back, folks. Second set action, Arc Arena, Thursday night. Stallone Shankar back to serve for the Cats.
And you saw a really good first set, but unfortunately for the Bearcats' sake, SUNY New Paltz was able to really capitalize late down the stretch, string together a few points, and really kind of put it out of commission.
You know, a real battle, but just New Paltz won points when they needed to, Brian. There was a huge block by the Bearcats that they somehow kept alive for long enough for the Bearcats to make an error on the play, and points like that at the end of the match determine the winner.
So here's Zinkin coming from the outside there. Shankar is going to go right back and set him. Nice dig there by New Paltz. Spolnik blocked by Zinkin, kept alive by New Paltz.
Free ball coming over, Brian.
Yep, the free ball is going to go to Hahn. Shankar sets Evan Tacos coming right through the middle, and that's going to be a kill. Another kill there for Tacos.
Yeah, middles have been lights out tonight when they have a good connection. Let's see if we can keep up that positive energy and clean sets and clean attacks.
Yeah, you'd almost rather just continue to see Baruch go through their middle because it's really been effective thus far.
And it opens everything else up when you make that other middle blocker stay there and wait until they see that your middle isn't getting the swing.
And Baruch able to dig that one, so it's going to be a kill from the Hawks, and we're tied at 2 apiece. Going back row to Lopez. Here's Lillian blocked in the front row.
Yeah, it looks like that ball didn't get that high out of Shanker's hands there. I think Justin needed that ball a little bit higher.
Yeah, just a little bit. I feel like Lillian really hasn't been able to get going here tonight, but that part of that might be because some of the sets haven't been perfect.
Yeah, he started the season out a little bit injured, so that it's taken him a bit of time to find a rhythm, but when he's on, he's just as good as the rest of them, Brian.
So back set there to Zinkin, and it's going to be a point for the Bearcats.
Another net violation by number 18. That's the second or third time he's been in the net tonight, folks.
So that's going to bring in Many to sub in for Hahn and drop back Evan Tacos to serve. Once again, we're tied here, 3-3. Really nice serve there out of Tacos going back row. Here's a back set from SUNY New Paltz, dug by Shankar. Here's Zinkin, and that one just a little bit too long. Had a little bit too much steam behind that and he didn't like angle that down.
But you know, that's an error you like to see him make there, Brian,
of course,
because it's so easy to take something off of that ball, and he went up and gave it everything he could. And you know, when you do that, sometimes the point won't go your way. And as a coach, I'd be fine with that.
Yep, and a lot of times too, people in the back row, they'll either ricochet off them or they commit to it without knowing it's going out of bounds. So again, nice aggressive swing there by Zinkin.
Yeah. You'd rather your player go up aggressive and make an error than go up soft and make an error.
And on the flip side of that, Manny just went up with a lot of finesse. He was able to kind of roll shot that.
You know, double blocking in the middle is effective if they're going to swing, but when they double block the middle, that takes away an off blocker to pick up a tip or a roll shot. And Manny Musayev saw that early and just put it right to where that off blocker should have been, but wasn't because they were helping.
So Zinkin serving for the Bearcats. New Paltz coming from the outside there. Artem looking for the dig, but unfortunately just a little bit too much steam behind that one.
I don't know if it's picking up on the live stream, Brian, but it looks like the New Paltz setter is really holding on to the ball. But I guess he's doing it consistently, so we're not going to call it.
Yeah, I did see a little bit of hesitation in that set as well.
Probably he's a beach player, Brian, but right now we're indoors.
And definitely a no-doubter there in the service error. So Baruch will hope to capitalize as they are once again tied 5-5.
Coming in to serve for the freshman, Defang Han. We now have two Hans on the court, Han Bin Lee and Defang Han. Han squared. So
lefty serve there, nice jump serve. Once again, a little bit of a carry.
Yeah, good option. Really kind of caught the serving stuff just a little bit on the back feet. Fun fact about Defang Han, he's actually ambidextrous, Brian. He can swing with his right and his left. Apparently earlier in the season he went up randomly in a match after swinging lefty the whole time and swung righty and really confused the other team.
And Han Bin Lee committed to that one.
Looks like a miscommunication. Han thought that ball was going in and Steven Lopez would play it, but Steven thought that ball was going out. What you need to do as defenders there is overlap so that way you don't get caught by surprise.
And Baruch able to get that one over on one, but it kind of drew everyone out of position, and pretty easy kill there.
Yeah, New Paltz has been bringing pressure from the service line. Let's see how the Bearcats react to that, Brian. It's 2 aces in a row.
Especially when you have a setter swinging pretty freely there. You don't typically see that. And again, once again, sent over on one, but it goes off the rafters onto New Paltz's side, so it's going to be a point for the Hawks, and Coach Kevin is going to call a quick timeout here to talk it over. Baruch trailing 5-9. So back in action here. Shankar is going to Lopez. Lopez trying to tip over the front row.
Ooh, and that, I don't know if that ball hit the block, but I'm not going to argue it.
So down ball from Zinkin. And another kill there from Tevin Skeet. So the Bearcats already finding themselves in another tough position here in set number 2.
Looks like the ref sneezed into the whistle there, Brian, and had a little false whistle. They're going to let the server go at that one again.
Don't see that one every day.
I'm surprised it's taken me till now to see a ref cough into the whistle, Brian. But, man.
And it seems like the approach is, you can't necessarily guarantee it, but going with a hard serve back row, sent over on one by Baruch, and then New Paltz is coming back with a ton of momentum.
Exactly. You see, Brian, the top teams that make a bunch of service errors is because they're bringing a lot of heat on their serve. That's the one issue with the Bearcats tonight, is that they made a bunch of service errors, but when they get it in, they aren't really forcing that pressure.
So here's Lopez. This time he'll go back row for the libero. New Paltz, a little bit too strong there.
No.
Oh, wait, and they're going to say it's off Baruch hands, and we certainly didn't see that. The Baruch bench didn't see that.
It doesn't matter. You gotta tell me who it is.
And that ball was out.
It's out.
So yeah, the referee's saying that it was off someone's hands. They didn't give us a number as to who it was.
And, you know, it's okay to be wrong, Brian. Everyone's wrong sometimes. And the ref was wrong there.
But again, the Bearcats find themselves fighting out of a pretty big hole, so every point matters. And this one's going to go back to New Paltz. Dug by Hahn there. Here's Zinkin. Kept alive by New Paltz, coming back.
Now, New Paltz has a very interesting defense on out-of-system high balls to the back row. They tell their blockers not to go up and just get back on defense. And it's such a tough ball to hit down, so they say, hey, everyone, get deep and make them force the point.
Definitely makes sense as far as an approach goes. So the set number 2 has really been pretty much all New Paltz, as that's going to be a service error to put an end to Chris Shanley's pretty nice service run.
You know, Brian, but luckily you have to win 3 sets for a match to be over, so there's still a lot of volleyball left, even in this set, let alone the night for our viewers at home.
And again, you saw a lot more back and forth volleyball in set number 1. You're hoping the Bearcats can definitely get back in this one.
Yeah, all it takes is one service run, Brian.
And who better to do that than Many, but unfortunately commits the early service error, so this one's going right back to New Paltz. Kept alive there. Down ball from New Paltz. A lot of commotion around the net. Here's Lopez trying to get over that front row, but once again unable to do so. And it's going to be another point for the New Paltz Hawks.
Bearcats trail 6:15.
And that one is going to be a service ace out of Dan LaRosa. Really just caught the back row handcuff there.
I lost track of how many aces New Paltz has had this set, Brian. It's probably more than half their points.
Again, it's an easier way to rack up points, but in the same light, it's an easy way to find yourself in a tough hole if you're the opposing side.
And luckily the refs didn't call a touch there, Brian, because that ball was also out. Stallone Shankar serves, tries to get some life back in the Bearcats in the second set. Cats trail 7-16.
And Tacos.
Oh, that's a joust. That should be a Bearcat point. I think Tacos pushed that ball off the New Paltz attacker, but the refs didn't see it that way. Now that should be the Bearcats point because the Bearcats want to argue that hit the New Paltz player last, but...
Yeah, definitely saw, like you said, a little bit more of a 50-50 ball that Tacos had to play. As Zinkin's able to punch that one home, but really nice one-hand dig there to keep it alive by New Paltz. Tacos coming through the middle. And like you always say, Jake, ball doesn't lie.
Ball doesn't lie, Brian. You think the refs are slighting you, the best way to prove it is by earning a point. And that's what the Cats did right there.
So Justin Alulian will check back in for Baruch, and Steven Lopez will drop back to serve. Lopez goes back row. Cross-court set, looking for the outside. No good as it goes into the middle of the net, and Baruch strings together 2 points. A little bit of a hole, but then again, Jake, like you said, all it takes is one service run. So
yeah, a couple points here, a couple points there, and it's a game.
Lopez goes back row again, this time same spot.
Now, I'm not saying New Paltz is going to lose focus, but it's so easy to kind of take your foot off the gas when you're up a lot in a set.
And speaking of losing focus a little bit there, unable to connect on the set and kill attempt.
2 balls in a row into the middle of the net by New Paltz. Cats trail 10-17.
Lopez again goes back row. The New Paltz finally able to put a stop to that as they get the kill.
Hawks lead 18-10.
So that one goes right into the ceiling and straight back down.
Let's talk about the patience there. It's such a tough ball to sit back and wait on, and Sloan just ran a little bit too quick and didn't see the proper deflection off the roof.
Yeah, just a tough ball to defend there. And unfortunately, an unlucky bounce going straight down off the ceiling. This one off Alulian's shoulder, played by New Paltz, was probably going out of bounds. And that's a nice block there. Looked like Evan Tacos with a block assist from Zinkin, I believe, Jake?
Yes, block. Well, everyone who goes up for the block gets the assist. So.
Oh, so Alulian as well then.
Yes, on the stats it looks like 1.5 blocks because there's 3 block assists that get handed out. It's a stat day now, Brian. It's a stat day.
Here's Taco's serve. Looking for that back line. It's about 6 inches or so out of bounds. And
just a little off there. Let's hope the Cats can dial in at the end of the second set and bring some good serving energy into the third.
But you just definitely don't want to see Baruch really hurting themselves, especially going to set 3. Hopefully they can bring in some momentum and try to take a clean set from SUNY New Paltz here. And Manny's able to put that one away pretty commandingly.
Yeah, the Cats haven't been in the system often tonight, but when they are, they go through the middle and get the kill.
So, yeah, you really like to see them go back to that, as we mentioned earlier in the set.
And that's why the Hawks have been really able to run away with the second set, because their aggressive serving took the middles out of system for Baruch.
That's going to be a service error there by Zinkin.
Back-to-back service errors by the Bearcats.
Couple subs here for
it
New
looks like
Paltz.
a new setter and a new right-sider coming into the game for the Hawks.
It's going to be number 2, Matt Logel. Number 15, Kyle Schaefer. Also, number 11, Connor McPhail out of Port Washington. And he went to high school with Stephen Lopez, or at least the same high school.
Yes, they went to high school together, Brian. Close friends and ex-teammates.
You always like when you can make that connection.
Yeah. The volleyball community is tight-knit, Brian. You don't see many new faces over the years.
There you're seeing a lot of this New Paltz team coming out of Long Island as well. See a lot of Sachem, a lot of Smithtown on this roster.
Pretty much exclusively from New York on the New Paltz
Massapequa
team.
as well, pretty well represented with appears to be 3 guys. So, like you mentioned, definitely a lot of tight-knit volleyball community there.
And that can't happen, Brian. It's a third service error for the Cats in a row, especially when you're down this much.
Yeah, that's never going to get the job done, especially against...
I get going for it, but at a certain point you have to find a rhythm.
But against New Paltz, that's just not going to fly. Here's Shankar. Many coming through the middle, and it's going to be point Bearcats. So Musayev will drop back to serve as Tacos checks back in for Han.
And New Paltz has been able to get away with all these service errors because they're bringing such pressure when they do get their serves in.
Yeah. So it's almost like you take the bad with the good in that sense because they really force the Bearcats' hands with a lot of these serves.
The risk is worth the reward, Brian, where in the case of the Bearcats tonight, there's been a lot of errors but not much pressure.
So New Paltz closing in on that 25-point mark. Another nice serve, this time dug by Lopez. He comes back around and able to put that away with the kill. Here's Shankar. He'll go back row. Cross-court set. And nice double block there by Zinkin and Tacos.
And Shankar did exactly what he had to do there. Kept the serve and let the block do its work. Let's see if we can pick up on this and kind of bring that energy and philosophy into the third set, Brian.
That would be really big to, even if you can't necessarily take this set, but to still have that momentum going into set number 3 would be huge. As that one rolls over the tape, kept alive. Nice dig there by Han. Saved by Shankar. Free ball from the Bearcats. Right side attack. And another nice double block there with Tacos and Lopez going up.
Yeah, well, that's like that. 2 blocks in a row. All it took was a couple serves to be in. And like that, the Bearcat bench is back into it and creating some good energy for the boys.
Shankar going back row. And that ball is out of bounds, so the Bearcats stringing together a nice possession here. It's going to be a timeout. New Paltz, they're going to try to talk it over and slow down the Bearcats. Let's see if they can do so.
We'll be right back.
So we are back here live at the Arc Arena, and it's going to be a quick point there for the Bearcats. Let's see what's going on, Jake.
Out of rotation on the Hawks.
Beautiful thing there. If you're the Bearcats, really staying alive here, and what looked like the set was completely out of commission.
You know, rotations don't change up much from when you turn 14 to how old you are now, Brian. So it's a real mental error by the Hawks at the end of this set. Looks like the back row setter crossed to the right of the player he's supposed to be to the left of in the back row.
And unfortunate service error there.
But you know, a lot of energy that the Cats are bringing right now, and you love to see that. That's how you heat up at the end of the set and focus in. A lot of volleyball left to play.
Without a doubt, yeah.
The down ref's holding up a finger to the up ref, signifying that it's set point for New Paltz.
And that'll do it for set number 2. So New Paltz takes it 25-19. We'll be back in about 3 minutes for set number 3.
And we are back. Set 3, Arc Arena, Thursday night, Division III volleyball action. No place I'd rather be. Sloan Shankar with the roll shot down the line. 31 in the middle, blocked by the Bearcats, kept alive by New Paltz. Shoot to the outside, and just out. Didn't really have an angle on that one from here, Brian, but looks like 15's getting in trouble with the refs. Let's hope he can clean it up and play a nice, good game. Looking at the numbers tonight, the middles of the Bearcats have been nothing short of efficient, as Manny Musheyev is 5 for 5, hitting 1,000, and Evan Takos is hitting 333. And right over the block, New Paltz with a kill. We're tied at 1-1, Brian.
And yeah, tough one there for the Bearcats. New Paltz just able to find a little real estate along that back row. And dug by Hahn. Lopez had to go into the stands to get that one. That's going to be a free ball from Alulian.
Ooh, that might have been a double.
And it's going to be a point for the Bearcats either way.
Yeah. All about letting the boys play, Brian, but at a certain point you have to call it the spin.
Lopez going back row. Set through the middle and out of bounds. Point Bearcats.
Just a little too much risk there, Brian, by the middle attacker for New Paltz. Cats lead 3-1. Ooh, and it looks like the setter might have left early for another out of rotation call, but the refs didn't see it.
This could be a point for New Paltz there.
Yeah, it looks like the Bearcat defender, the setter was in the back row and broke a little too early to go set, but you can't set the ball before the first ball is passed, Brian. And another ace for the SUNY New Paltz Hawks. That's ace number 6 for them tonight. And looking at the numbers, the Hawks have 6 aces and 8 service errors compared to the Bearcats, 2 aces and 10 service errors. And that's kind of indicative of how each team has been serving, Brian.
Of course, and that's really going to either pay dividends for you down the stretch or naturally hurt you if you're on the wrong side of that. So,
and as always, the serve giveth and the serve taketh away. Bearcats lead 4-3 after the service error by New Paltz.
So Musayev will check back in for Baruch, and Takos will drop back and serve.
Looking to improve on his perfect night this far.
And that one just a little bit too high, a little bit too far out of Takos. So just like that, we're tied again at 4. And you really want to see the Bearcats limit their mistakes here in set number 3. Just play a clean set of volleyball and really see what that can do against SUNY New Paltz.
Exactly. You have last year's leading blocker in the nation in the front row. You just got to keep your serve in and let Manny do what Manny does best.
It's going to be a free ball from the Bearcats. Set from the outside, off Zinkin's hands in the front, kept alive by Baruch. Here's Zinkin now. He goes back row. Dug by New Paltz. They're calling, Baruch bench calling for a double there. No call from the officials. And once again, a little bit off-balance tip over the front row by Musayev, and he's able to get the kill.
As much as I would love for that to have been a double, Brian, I kind of agree with the no call there. Came out with a little bit of spin, but it wasn't egregious.
Yeah, enough to warrant a reaction from the bench, but not enough to warrant a call.
Yeah, enough to beg for the point, but not enough to earn the point.
And Zinkin going back row. That one a little high, but played by New Paltz.
Might have been going out. Roll shot, dug by Zinkin.
Now Shankar going cross-court set to Lulian. Did he find it? No, just a little bit out there. But again, really close as that one nearly came into the broadcast booth. Here's Drake now serving for New Paltz. Misses that one.
Yeah. Kind of whiffed on that one, Brian. Didn't get any power behind it, and he's been serving pretty powerful all night.
Yeah, it almost just looks like he missed the ball.
Yeah.
Here's Justin Alulian to serve. Set through the middle.
And Tevin Skeet absolutely destroyed that ball.
Yeah, you don't want to be on the other side of that ball.
Yeah, 6-6.
That one dug by Lulian. Shankar back set to Zinkin. It's a little bit, caught it a little bit too low.
Yeah, and Zinkin was telling Stallone there, he said, hey man, great set, give that to me again.
Yeah.
I won't make the same mistake. Hawks lead 7-6.
That one dug by Lopez. Shankar going back to Lopez. He'll go back row to libero. Punched over on one by New Paltz. Back set Zinkin. Coming right back with it. It's going to be a point for New Paltz.
And a double error by Artem Zinkin. He stepped over the line and hit the ball out. So however you draw it up, tomato, tomato, Hawk point.
So you want to see the Bearcats try to stop the bleeding here. Stay in this one. Dug by libero. Manny's going to set Artem. You don't typically see that. And
ooh, just caught the 6th defender a little bit too deep there for the Cats. Kind of on his back heels, and you want to be on your toes when you're playing defense so you can adjust to a ball like that. Nice.
And here's Shanley to serve. It's a pretty good service run going here. 50-50 ball. And that one put away by Spolnick, but not before he stared down the Bearcats, which you don't typically love to see if you're a Bearcat.
You know, you don't love to see it, but I'll let him get away with that.
No, it's a little bit of
Brian.
gamesmanship.
That was a nice swing.
Of course.
I myself probably would have fell victim to the same urge to stare down the court after that.
Fair enough, as Musea puts that one right back. Nice response from Baruch.
Now subbing in for the New Paltz Hawks, a transfer student, Matthew Amberge, a senior from Belmore, New York. For the past 3 seasons, he was part of the St. Joe's Long Island Eagles, I believe, maybe Hawks?
Golden Eagles.
Golden Eagles. He was part of the team that we beat in a thrilling 5-setter last year, so I wonder if that's still in his mind while he's back on the court right now.
And speaking of St. Joe's, Jake, that will we have them coming up pretty soon. That's going to be February 20th. Yeah, that will be our next home broadcast. So February 20th at 7 p.m.
I hear some rumblings that might be Hawaiian night in the booth that night.
It might be Hawaiian booth. You're absolutely correct.
Word on the street.
And that one's going to be blocked. A little bit of a block party there coming out of SUNY New Paltz.
You know, I don't know if I'll give that for the block. I think that ball might just never clear the plane of the net. Looks like it was set a little bit too low for Tacos. Let's not give the New Paltz players the stats that they don't need.
Again, if you're Baruch, you really want to get the ball back here and try to stop the bleeding on this deficit. As Tacos looking to tip that one over, but unfortunately angled his wrist a little bit too wide, and that one goes out of bounds.
That's such a tough shot when the ball's coming from your right to push that ball to your left. And Evan Tacos went for it. It would have been very nice if it hit, but unfortunately it didn't.
And that one goes out of bounds.
Ooh, that looked pretty close to me, Brian, but I'm not going to argue except when the Bearcats' favor.
Yeah, LaRosa on another nice service run here.
Seem to have gotten similar reactions from the workers on the scorers table. I think they agree with my sentiment that ball might have been in, Brian.
And that's going to check in.
A new floor captain for the Hawks.
Here's Stallone Shankar. Dug along the floor there for New Paltz. Blocked by Zinkin. Kept alive. And Taco's able to put that one away in what was a little bit of a gap between him and the middle, going up for the block.
Yeah, cut the middle, just not penetrating enough. Nice swing by Evan Tacos to see that and force the ball through there.
Here's Shankar. Goes back row again, punched over on one by New Paltz. Zinkin's going to set Shankar, who's going to go right back to him with a little bit of give and go action there. And New Paltz coming right back, handcuffs Baruch's libero, and that's a tough point to give up. It was pretty.
Yeah, a lot of good volleyball play by the Bearcats in that rally. Unfortunately, just not in the final play.
And Shankar going back set to Lopez. A lot of steam behind that one, and no answer from New Paltz, justifiably so.
Steven Lopez absolutely destroyed that ball down the line there, Brian.
Yeah, you really love to see that.
Bearcats Trail 10-14. Big shout out to our fans tonight. Good showing on the Baruch YouTube page. I believe we peaked at 79 viewers and right around 70 right now. Thanks for tuning in, folks.
Yep, we got people tuning in from everywhere, so as always, we appreciate you guys. And please be sure to join us for the, like we mentioned earlier, the St. Joe's broadcast coming next week, February 20th.
And if I believe that's exactly a week from today, Brian?
Exactly.
Mark your calendars right now, folks. 7 p.m.,
So
Arc Arena.
We should have another good one on tap there. 7 p.m. start. Me and Jake will be here. Shankar is now going to set Alulian, who once again just unable to get on top of that one.
You know, the SUNY New Paltz Hawks volleyball team is number 3 in the nation, but our broadcast team is actually ranked number 1 in the nation, Brian. Best production and live stream crew in all of Division III, voted by our peers.
It's a big honor to hold, and it's
And
a
the
responsibility we definitely,
Live up to.
of course. We're always thinking of ways we can improve. But again, it's really credited to the help we have here at Baruch. It really starts with our athletic director, Heather McCullough, and it works its way down to John Neves.
Our amazing
Yep.
sports information director who has left a legacy here at Baruch College.
Rocking the trademark Columbia blue sweater. Fleece sweater here, 1 of 1.
You know, I'll go far enough to say it's Bearcat blue, not Columbia blue.
Yeah, still working on a lot of trademarks here. Whether it be Taco Thursday.
Or Bearcat blue, but we're out here trying, folks.
And naturally, Roll Cats, that one.
Oh, we should get that trademarked right now. Roll Cats. And speaking of rolling, I'm going to guess a roll shot on this jump serve. It's kind of right. In between a roll shot and a power serve. Ooh. And a little too low for Musayev as he had the whole power swing open there and just swung right into the net. That ball's a little higher. There's no doubt in my mind that would have been a kill, Brian.
Absolutely. You saw Baruch really set up their offense well there, just like you said, positioning a little off on the swing. And that's going to be a dig from Lopez coming in the back row. Now DeFang puts it away with the lefty kill.
Such an unorthodox swing, a lefty on the outside.
You just love to see it, Jake.
Yeah, tough for the block to always adjust. Let's see if he breaks out the righty swing this match, Brian. That's what I'm looking forward to.
It's definitely tough to defend if you can come from both looks and swing both ways in both outside positions, whether it be outside or right side. And Zinkin just getting a little bit overzealous there with the serve. But again, you love to see the aggressiveness that SUNY New Paltz has brought all night from the service line. So Zinkin trying to go right back with that. So don't have a huge problem with that, but again,
you have to play to your strengths. You can't try and match what the other team's doing. SUNY New Paltz is a great serving team.
Yep.
Whereas the Bearcats are, historically, we've always been a great blocking team, and that can't take place if you're making service errors. Whereas if you're a good service team, you can make errors along the line to being a good serving team.
That's a really good point there. And that's going to be a back-to-back service error.
Yeah. Hope you guys are on the edges of your seats at home. Some exciting volleyball being played right now. Bearcats trail 14-18, the decisive third set, as they look to extend their night against number 3 ranked SUNY New Paltz.
Nice serve there. Ball caught up in the rafters. Kept alive by New Paltz.
And the Moose, Meni Musayev with the block.
Yeah, nice block there out of Meni. Showing why he led the NCAA last year in blocks per set.
That might be out of rotation. That might have been out of rotation by the New Paltz team, as number 2 was to the wrong side of the libero, but the refs aren't going to call it. That was out of rotation by the New Paltz backcourt. Number 2 was supposed to be to the right of the libero, but was to the left. Wish we had that one back, Brian.
Yeah, especially in this close of a game with the Bearcats in a 2-set hole. But Steven Lopez answers right back with a big kill.
Ball don't lie. Now, you know, when the Bearcats opened their season against their Division I opponent, there was video replay, so maybe that could have been challengeable, but unfortunately we don't have that technology in the Arc Arena yet.
Hopefully one day. As that ball's hit out of
A
bounds.
broadcaster can dream, can't he, Brian?
But of course, Jake. So Musayev will drop back to the service line. Bearcats really fighting and clawing here to stay alive in set number 3. maybe try to force this to a fourth and potentially beyond. But again, an unnecessary service error.
Yeah, you know, just a little too deep, but when you're serving down the line like that, that's when there's the least amount of court available, so you really can't just let that ball sail.
Yeah.
Had Manny Musea gone cross court there, there would have been a lot of real estate for that ball to fall into, but...
Yeah, much more real estate, and again, at the same time, Jake, you'd rather just see him just hit it over the net and let's play.
Yeah, keep that ball in.
You know, especially at this point in the match.
Yeah, you're trying to keep the game alive, not win it all on one ace. Ooh, and stuffed by Stallone Shankar.
You can really hear the Arc Arena erupt there.
Absolutely electric after that block.
You love seeing that out of your setter. There's a block more reminiscent of an outside or a middle along the front row, but now Shankar so fired up.
I almost forgot he had to go serve, but now he remembered, and we're back.
Good serve there, kind of draw New Paltz off balance. And another big block by Evan Tacos. It's a block party here at the Arc Arena.
Yeah, the Bearcats doing what the Bearcats do best and stuffing the opponent.
It's going to be a timeout from SUNY New Paltz here as they're going to try to slow down this Baruch offense. So we'll be back in a few. And we are back underway at the Arc Arena. So Baruch really doing a good job of fighting out of a hole in this third set. Now within 1 point of tying it. New Paltz called a timeout to try to slow it down, but once again an effective timeout as they're able to respond with the point.
New Paltz leads 21-19 in the third set, up 2-0. If they can close this one out, they'll win, but if the Bearcats can stay alive, they'll force a fourth set.
Lopez going to Shankar, now to Zinkin, off some hands in the front row, rolling around and...
Ow, you know, it looks like the New Paltz defender put his hand down a little too early. You kind of heard him burn some skin as he walks to the back line looking at his thumb.
Now also, Jake, just noticed, not a lot of knee pads on New Paltz side. That's definitely a bold move.
Yeah, you know, it's really personal preference. I was never a big fan of the knee pad, but also I didn't play much in the back row, so I wasn't ever expected to hit the floor like that.
Of course, but that definitely, if you see a back row guy laying out for a ball,
yeah,
it's tough without those knee pads.
Well trained. If you know how to dive the proper way, you don't need them, Brian, but they are a good safety net. Looks like a little miscommunication there with the Bearcats and their 6 and 5 defender. Each went for the ball.
And that one way out of bounds. That's definitely a risky run with those high jump serves.
Exactly, Brian.
It's one thing to connect with the ball, but you want to connect with it on the proper angle.
Exactly. Some professional players have even found good results by having a lower toss because there's less room for air on a consistently low toss.
Absolutely. So here's Tacos coming with the serve. He goes cross court. That ball punched around. Really looked like it was going to be playable, but then just shot right to the ground.
Yeah. Tacos looked just a little too excited to play that ball and swung his arms the slightest bit. And that rocketed that ball into the ceiling.
Yeah, it came down like a pinball there. Hit off the basketball hoop and straight down.
Looked like my bowling strategy, Brian. I need the bumpers up.
So back set from Shankar going to Zinkin. Kept alive by New Paltz. Here's Musayev just a little bit long, and ladies and gentlemen, you don't like saying it when it's not the Bearcats, but this is match point. So hopefully the Bearcats can hold on to try to force a fourth set. And staying alive. Service error there out of New Paltz. Jake, how you feeling right now?
Well, the Cats have a great chance here, Brian. I wish there was a couple points, just like that first set. There was just a couple points where there was slight mental lapses or just better plays made by the Hawks. Now, luckily, the live stream can't hear us right now. I mean, the court can't, but the middle's running a back one here. Let's see if they set them. Open. Apparently, they changed the call up after I saw it, folks.
So that's a kill out of Tevin Skeet once again. So that'll do it for us here. SUNY New Paltz takes set number 3, 25-22, and a clean 3-0 sweep.
Bearcats are no longer perfect at home as their home record changes to 1-1. We'll be right back in a week, folks, when we host St. Joseph, Long Island Golden Eagles on February 20th. And then after that, we'll be back on March 5th to host Trine, and then March 7th to host a tri-match with CCNY in New York.
So for Brian Flannery and Jacob Rudin, thank you all for tuning in, and we will catch you next Thursday night. Have a good night, everyone.
Roll Cats.